Welcome back to the Devolver Digital Indie Game Showcase. While this might not be an indie game, since we're here at E3, we're gonna give love to all kind of games, including indie games, games made by giant corporates, fighting games, multiplayer games, everything. So here today we are presenting King of Fighters 14 that's coming up. So now I'll pass it over to our professional game commentators. So take it away, guys.
All right, so, even though it's not independent, grassroots community is here to represent. I'm here with Will.
What's up, guys?
My name is Abe, and we're here to commentate some matches for you. Right now, we got Reynald, the former KOF 13 champion, and Mr. KOF, a big veteran in our community. Probably won some games somewhere, I don't know. But I'm really excited about this game, man. There's a lot of new characters, and there's a lot more to show off. Pretty flashy gameplay here.
So, just to get a little bit of an idea for those who might not be familiar with the franchise or maybe the fighting games in general, if people grew up in arcades playing video games there, would they be able to get into this game pretty quick, or would they have to learn?
Actually, to be honest with you, I don't really feel like you had to be from the arcade era to play this game. Because a lot more games from the arcade era were a little bit more difficult. And this is actually a pretty broad horizon for a lot of players to get into it. But to be honest with you, our players learned it pretty quickly. Yeah, they're veterans, but I feel like the obstacles to get into this game are very low, you know. And to my surprise, really, when they announced the new characters, I was kind of questionable on how appealing they might be.
Right.
But no, man, they really executed it, and these characters are very interesting. Their gameplay style and stuff like that.
Good to know. Now, I guess the biggest change in terms of the visuals now that they've taken a turn into 3D models of the characters from the traditional 2D sprites. How do you feel about that, and how do you think the gamers will feel about that in terms of
I'm guessing most of them feel kind of similar to how I felt. I thought the previous game was beautiful. It was a beautiful game.
Yep, definitely.
Now, I guess the way that I interpreted it from being around it more is that this game has so much more character and style than was probably possible in such a short period of time with 2D, that I feel they really achieved maybe their hopes of what they could have done in 2D, but now is possible because of 3D.
Right.
You know?
Really. I've seen from some of the early footage and screenshots now, they do look pretty close to their 2D counterparts in terms of movement and everything. And also another comparison is, how do you think the pace of the game is now? Will it be much slower or faster than the previous game?
Actually, I don't think it's slower. I think it's been known to be a pretty aggressive game, to be played aggressively. That's definitely still the mainstay of the series.
Like the Rushdown.
Yeah, Rushdown is still very big in the game. But yeah, I don't think the pace has changed too much. It's very familiar setting for former players.
Awesome. So do you think fighting game players in general, if they played other fighting games, they'd be able to transition into King of Fighters?
Absolutely, because I feel like this game is more about how you approach your strategies, right?
Okay.
More about how you can see what the other player is doing, as opposed to more being execution heavy like the last games were. This really allows you to expand your mind as much as possible on the game and not have to worry about other things.
Right. So maybe it's a little bit more flexible in that terms, where other people,
absolutely.
other gamers can
So people that are already familiar with certain situations that happen within fighting games, they're going to be able to immediately recognize that in this game.
Right. So there's definitely still a competitive aspect there. Maybe now, if it were to appeal to, say, those who play the game casually and just like to enjoy the game in general, what kind of content would this offer them?
Well, I know they do offer a story mode.
There is a story mode.
And KOF fans have always been very vocal about how much they like the lore of the game, and that they never let that's never waned ever.
It was never really the focus, I suppose. But I guess players are now engaging the game deeper and deeper, and get interested into the lore and the story and all that.
Absolutely, especially as more communities are starting to come about. They're starting to express more of their love for the characters. Even me personally, I don't know every aspect of the storyline.
Okay, cool.
But
it's still a mystery.
But even just goes to show you how they're able to achieve the certain aesthetic where it's like the way those characters appear on the screen tells a lot about their story.
Cool.
You know?
Definitely. I mean, the appearance of some characters, especially the new characters, are very flashy looking, and everyone's kind of curious to know, like, what kind of background do these characters have, and how do they tie into the traditional characters in the game, and all things like that. So that's definitely an interesting factor. Now, if we to delve into the competitive aspect, what can we expect in terms of, say, were there any mechanics that came from the older franchise titles, or any new mechanics that's implemented just for this game?
Yeah, so competitively, one of the big differences that they have is a mechanic that is similar but different. You know, there's a lot of things like that in this game. It's similar, but it is different.
Okay.
So there's something called max mode in this game, right?
Yes.
And it's been in previous KOFs. However, this one is still different from the other ones.
Okay.
In the last one, it was called HD, where you had a meter to do custom combos. That was the meter you used to do a custom combo.
Right.
In this new one, you use max mode to do custom combos.
Oh, okay.
So now that's the new way that you can approach the gameplay. And it changes stuff dramatically because actually what you don't have available in normal mode, besides custom combos, is you have EXs now, more powerful versions of those characters that you have to be in max mode.
Right. So I guess using those resources that are given, there's always going to be a risk and reward kind of factor to the game.
And that definitely goes into the competitive part. You have to figure out who you want to put first, who you want to put anchor, who you want to use as a battery, who do you want to expend all those resources on, you know?
Okay.
And that's where the layers start to come in.
Right, so it's like kind of a meter management. Of course, the order of the characters would be important, but I guess individual skills that the characters have that allows you to build those resources. First and the second characters, and maybe your anchor character can unleash everything that they have. So that's a very cool aspect in the competitiveness.
I'm already learning like a ton from this. By the way.
That's good. We're all learning as we go.
This is crazy.
There's still time until the game releases, so hopefully we get some information, and whenever the professional players get their hands on it, hopefully we get to see a lot of entertaining matches. Right?
I mean, pay attention to these guys. These guys are the best right here. You got the champion,
former Evo champ,
and the people's champ.
People's champ, that's definitely. Some of the like the moments I remember from big tournaments and big and small tournaments. There was a lot of gameplays that had certain characters where they would say, I guess the popular term is turtling. Now, do you think that's still something that drives fighting gameplays away from the game, and do you think that kind of gameplay still applies to this game?
This is what I say about that type of style, right? You can do it in this game, but you're not taking advantage of the system if that's the way you're going to play it. So it's like, he's totally capable, but it's kind of like you're handicapping yourself a little bit. There's so much that you can do on the offense. Why wouldn't you try to implement offense into your gameplay as opposed to just being a strictly turtle type character? Because it's going to come to a point, the way that this game plays, is that once I build enough meter from you playing so defensive, all I need is that one touch to get rid of your character. So all that hard work that you spend trying to turtle is pretty much nullified by the fact that I built enough meter to get one opening on you, and now we're on to your next character.
I see. You know? So I guess a good defensive play is definitely needed. However, there are some mechanics that may